Alright, ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome to another great episode on your favorite political talk show, The Truth, with Ben Jokes. Now, today, Wednesday, the 18th of June, Tinubu finally visits BENUE after months of killings. And just as Peter Obi said, this visit is no more a visit that carries urgency. He does not see the killings as an emergency. It's more or less a state visit. And the governor almost turned it into a campaign party. But that is an issue I will discuss in another video. What I want to point out here is the tragedy of Tinubu's visit to BENUE today, and the tragedy of the fact that Nigerians in this generation might never know what it means to actually have a country. In a real country, the president is responsible for every single soul within and even outside the country. But here in Nigeria, the citizens are like orphans in an orphanage with no leader. Another thing I would like to point out as regards this visit is that in my period of reporting, I have observed a trend. Anytime there is a high-profile visit to any terrorist hit state, the terrorists will hit back shortly after that visit. I think they do that to show that visits by Chief of Army Staff, Chief of Defense Staff, National Security Advisor, or Tinubu cannot stop them from their activities. They just try to prove a point, and it's always fatal when they do. So I want the people of BENUE and security forces, if any, to be at alert. The terrorists may mount another attack on BENUE within the next 7 days, and they shall fail woefully by the grace of God, and as we stay super alert. Now, let us look at the top stories. Retired General Yakubu Gowon has come under fire after he tried to wash his image by saying he wants to be remembered as a leader who loved Nigeria. And just as Nigerians were yet reacting to those remarks by Yakubu Gowon, that video from the Chief of Defense Staff began circulating. Yesterday, it was the Minister of Interior who blasted the Tinubu regime in a video. Today, the Chief of Defense Staff, while making a speech on the BENUE killings, softly called out Tinubu, Akpabio, and the National Assembly. 2 days ago, Tinubu said the killings in BENUE were due to farmers-herders clash. The Chief of Defense Staff openly said there was nothing like clash anywhere. And then he went on to touch on some very controversial topics that highlight the clear failure of Tinubu, Akpabio, and the National Assembly. CDS pointed them out, saying there is nothing else the army can do. Before I show you details of these top stories and how Nigerians reacted, let me quickly show you this video. The information put out in this video must not be missed. Please watch patiently.
What do you say to them is behind it? Is it competition for land? Is it fueled by religious and ethnic divisions? Is it something else?
Charles, this is a very good question you're asking, because I think that what actually has happened is that nobody is telling the truth about the problem in BENUE and the Middle Belt. And we are wanting to be politically correct by saying, and I saw that in a major statement today, by saying that there is no religion involved in this crisis. Well, a statement today from the office of the SGF, for example, who said it's not about
Secretary to the government.
Yeah, Secretary to the government, who said there is no religion involved in this. There's no ethnicity. It's an economic situation.
And you believe that there is religion and ethnicity?
Of course, I do believe.
Well, tell us why.
Because this is not the first time. The people of BENUE know that they have had an issue of jihadism in the past 100 years, that ended up in BENUE. The people who took the jihad, who will never want to end, want to continue that jihad. The last jihad ended up in BENUE. I used to joke with my Igbo friends and brothers and said, Christianity is actually stabilized in Igbo land because we stopped the jihad in BENUE. And so they want to continue that jihad, and the BENUE is the center for them of that jihad. They believe that once they're able to overrun BENUE, then they can reach the ocean as they had always thought. And this is the narrative that nobody wants to talk about. We want to be politically correct, and therefore we are saying, oh, well, there's nothing religious about this, or there's actually nothing even ethnic about this. You're talking about a people who are going into Benue to massacre people from week to week. And when the matter comes up, they say, oh, well, you know, please try and find reconciliation with the people. When did the Fulanis, who are doing the massacring in Benue, become members of Benue? The state was created in the 70s. The languages that are used on the radio are Tiv, Idoma, Igede, and Etulo. Where is the Fulani community in Benue? And now you are saying reconcile with the people who are there. How do you reconcile with the people whom you do not know? These guys come in the night, they come by river, they come by canoe, they get out of the canoe, they get out and go out and kill people, get back into the canoes and run back. They don't belong to Benue. They hope that continually by decimating the people who are in the north of the Benue, they will be able to occupy that land, drive them out as they are, kill the people, they destroy the churches, they burn the homes, they take over, they take the people's food and offer to cows, and gradually they are inching into Benue. This is the situation, and that's the story which I like to tell anybody. And it's an unfortunate situation, because I think that the government is taking this matter not as seriously as it should. The same situation we have in Plateau, the same situation we have in Benue. Overrun Plateau, overrun Benue, and then move on. This is a story that must be told, and that story must be told openly.
Wow, you heard that. That was Reverend Father Patrick Alumuku there, dropping some hot facts on the Benue killings. He said the ethnic cleansing is linked with jihad, and if you look at the pattern of these attacks, it is hard to argue. The jihadists came into Nigeria with the aim of conquering the country, and Benue is a gateway to southern Nigeria. It is also the state where jihad has recorded its worst presence in the north central, followed by Plateau State. What this interview is essentially saying is that what is happening in Benue State is actually the fate of the entire southern Nigeria if Benue is allowed to fall. Reverend Father Patrick Alumuku is a completely different man from ex-Reverend Father Alia, who is now the governor of Benue State. And he is telling us in this video that the attacks that we see in Ogun, Ondo, Enugu, Kogi by these same men is part of a grand scheme to establish jihad everywhere in Nigeria. This is even a much more bigger conversation than the terrorism we are talking about. And sadly, they have the support of the APC. That is why Nigerians who are patriotic must unite to get the APC out of power. Now, let us look at the top stories. Retired General Yakubu Gowon under fire after he tried to wash clean his image by saying he wants to be remembered as someone who loved Nigeria. And next is that video from the Chief of Defense Staff subtly calling Tinubu and National Assembly out as regards the killings in Benue. Let's start by taking that update regarding Yakubu Gowon. Look at how the papers reported it. I want to be remembered as someone who loves Nigerians. Gowon. Former head of state General Yakubu Gowon says he wishes to be remembered as a leader who loves Nigeria and the people of the country. Gowon, a former military officer, led Nigeria from 1966 to 1975. In an interview with Arise Television, the 90-year-old statesman shed light on the irreconcilable differences that led to the outbreak of the Nigerian Civil War in July 1967. Asked how he wants to be remembered, Gowon said he wishes to be remembered as a Nigerian who loves this country and prays for it. I want to be remembered as someone who loves his country, Nigeria, who loves Nigerians, who prays at least if I cannot fight, I pray for Nigeria to continue to be a country that all of us love. I know it is impossible for any country to be absolutely perfect, he said. You heard that. I think Gowon has chosen his fate, so he should just go away. His crimes against the Southeast can never be forgotten, and that is all he will be remembered for. But he is not even remorseful. He is still as evil as he was in 1967, supporting Tinubu, asking for more time for Tinubu, supervising rigged elections up and down. Okay, right now the country is sinking. Even in your own state, ethnic cleansing is going on and the government is backing it. What have you said to condemn it? And look at how Nigerians reacted. Let's take some of the tweet reactions. King Imas here says, just like anything related to Adolf Hitler is banned in Germany from his name that no one gives his child to all, so shall yours be. That is it. Pastor Moses Yusuf here says, that is hypocrisy talk. If he really loves Nigeria, he could have allowed Nigeria to divide so that by now we would have been praising him for doing that. Is Nigeria better now? That is it. The Nigeria that you fought for, that it should stay together, is it better now? It is worse than anyone ever expected it would be, and you are still one of the enablers. I am happy to see that you are seeking for validation at this point in your life, and you will never get it. Period. And just as Nigerians were yet reacting to that video from the Chief of Defense Staff began making the rounds. Now you have to be smart to decode the message in this video. He raised 3 topics: and disputes between indigenes and non-indigenes, open grazing, and farmer headers clash. Then he said it is politics that will fix those issues. What he means is that to fix these problems, we have to get the right political decisions from Tinubu, Akpabio, and the National Assembly. See the video.
Now, from my own view, what I have observed, 2 basic things, or 3 basic things. One, issue of land, indigene, non-indigene, critical, which is political. That is supposed to be sorted out politically. Secondly, the issue of the movement of animals. I have told people over time that when they say farmer headers clash means 2 things are moving. But if a farm is standing and an animal comes in, it's not a clash. It's somebody entering somebody's property. So we must find solutions to how, which means if the animals don't move, we don't have issues. Now again, because of that, again, we have issues of rustling of animals. Which means if we don't even rustle animals again that are moving, again, there won't be most of this problem happening. So those are the 3 critical aspects that we must be able to address clearly. And like I said, most of it is political solution that needs to come into it. Because it's not what the military can solve. What we can stop is to try and stop people from attacking each other.
Wow. The Chief of Defense Staff touched some of the most controversial areas of our nationhood in this short cryptic message. He has actually sent a challenge out to Tinubu, Akpabio, and the National Assembly. He said soldiers can only prevent attacks, but what are the root causes of those attacks? Then he listed them and demanded the right political decisions from Tinubu. Why are the non-indigene Fulanis dragging lands with indigenes? Farmer headers clash? No, I am on my farm. It is you who invaded the farm. Then he demanded the right political decision to end open grazing, but Tinubu's agreement with the Fulanis cannot permit him to enforce any open grazing law. And I never thought I would ever say this, but I have to say that I am impressed by some of the revelations made by the Chief of Defense Staff so far. I am impressed by the performance of this man and the Minister of Interior too. It shows that we are not completely doomed as a nation. These people coming out to say the things that they have said, what the Minister of Interior said last night and what the Chief of Defense Staff is saying to the Tinubu government now, is no mean feat. Even though it won't change anything, at least they have come out to look the government in the eye and say it. And the reason why it will not change anything is because of the kind of country that we are. And that is why these men cannot even come out to say everything that they feel, because they know if you say it, Nigerians will not still react. At the end of the day, you might even put yourself in trouble. Look at all the revelations that have been made about how porous our borders are, and Tinubu is not doing anything about it, yet he's wasting money, 266 million naira on one street light, 35 billion to renovate ICC. If it was a serious country, they would have shut the whole place down so that their head go fit correct. Now, the Fulanis are grabbing land everywhere, open grazing. Laws cannot be made to cripple them. Why? If we were a serious country, the people will have been out compelling the National Assembly right now to, to resume a session and begin to make those laws to cripple these killers. But they can't, because they have agreements with them. Even in the FCT, you will find cows at the Aso Villa. Tinubu cannot do anything because of the agreement that he had with Fulanis. The Chief of Defence Staff referred to land disputes between indigenes and non-indigenes. Only the Fulanis in the whole of this Nigeria have land disputes with all other ethnic groups. Go to the southwest, Fulani is having land disputes with them. You go to the north central, they are having land disputes with Fulani. Southeast, Fulani is dragging land with people. Edo, they are dragging land. So you mean the Fulanis are omnipresent or what? They are in the southwest, they are in the north central, southeast. What is going on here? The APC and Tinubu government can't keep them in check because of the agreement they had with them, that they will allow them to operate freely in Nigeria once the APC is in power. And that is why human lives are being wasted daily. And I keep telling Nigerians, we are not going to see the back of this insecurity until we come together and begin to tell ourselves the truth, that the APC are the chief sponsors and we must unite to get them out of power. But until then, make I still enter town, make I go get some ogbonge political news wey una go like. Why? Because of una I dey here, so don't go away. Don't go away.